began with something so ordinary it should have faded into routine. A quiet email from Archie's school, a checklist every parent receives, proof of birth, proof of health. The kind of thing people fill out half awake over morning coffee. But when Meghan Markle opened that message, the ordinary cracked. Teachers expected the originals, official documents, not photocopies. She submitted copies anyway. When the school politely insisted on seeing the originals, witnesses say her calm veneer shifted. Frustration edged her voice and the room grew still. Staff weren't being difficult. It was policy. Every California school, like every school in the country, verifies identity to prevent fraud, trafficking, or error. Yet what should have been a 5-minute form check turned into a wall of silence. According to those present, Meghan claimed she couldn't hand them over. The originals, she said, were sealed by the palace for security reasons beyond her control. She mentioned Archie's unique status, sixth in line, a child of monarchy and celebrity, and implied those papers carried risks outsiders couldn't understand. But the staff knew royal precedent. Records of births in the royal family were never sealed. Tradition demands transparency, gold-framed announcements outside Buckingham Palace, public registrations, signatures that confirm lineage. What made this child different? That afternoon, a simple school errand morphed into whispers of something far stranger. A missing certificate, an unseen signature, a sealed file no one was allowed to view. The more questions asked, the deeper the fog grew. It wasn't just about paperwork anymore. It was about truth itself. To untangle it, one must return to that spring morning when Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor supposedly entered the world. Every royal birth before his had been choreographed. Bells ringing, easel displayed, official witnesses on record. But on that day, there was only a statement. Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex, has been delivered of a son. No hospital steps, no photos, no midwives signing in public view. Reporters waited, but no certificate ever appeared on the palace gates. The document remained hidden, stamped confidential. The palace claimed privacy. Yet insiders recall aides confused, even blindsided. They never received an order to suppress the file. For the first time in modern royal history, a baby's registration became a state secret. And with secrecy comes rumor. Who signed the record? Why wasn't the mother present? Why did the father, Prince Harry, appear alone at the registrar's office 11 days later to sign in silence? The clerk's log lists only one signature. No Meghan, no witness, no photograph, just Harry, hurried and hollow-eyed, pen pressed to paper as though performing a task rather than celebrating a milestone. Those who've handled royal paperwork say the process usually takes hours after birth, not weeks. Yet for Archie, time stretched. The record appeared only when public curiosity turned restless, and even then the document seen by journalists was a copy. Its authenticity questioned, its content truncated. The location of birth changed twice in government archives. One line listed Portland Hospital, another mysteriously shifted to Frogmore Cottage. Experts said such edits are nearly impossible without internal authorization. So who granted it? Behind palace curtains, whispers turned into sleepless nights. Staff wondered if Meghan had deliberately rewritten royal protocol. Others suspected there was something more delicate, a medical truth the monarchy wasn't prepared to confront. Then came the rumor that froze everyone, a quiet London-based facility linked to King Charles, a private fertility and IVF clinic operating under a charitable arm. Hidden beneath layers of Royal Foundation listings, it specialized in embryo transfers, genetic preservation, and surrogacy arrangements. Records show the clinic's trustees overlap with royal medical advisors. Nothing illegal, but deeply discreet. When investigators noticed the timeline, its peak operations aligning with Meghan's pregnancy, questions multiplied. If that clinic had any involvement, even peripherally, it would explain the secrecy. The sealed medical files. The non-existent certificate. The insistence that no one beyond the palace could see the originals. Still, no official statement came. The palace neither confirmed nor denied. It simply closed ranks, invoking privacy and dignity for the Sussex family. By then, what began as a routine enrollment check had transformed into a riddle wrapped in protocol. Inside the Los Angeles school, staff were told to hold all documentation issues pending clarification from the family's representatives. Behind closed doors, administrators murmured about liability, about what it would mean to admit a student whose birth record no authority could verify. Outside, gossip outlets smelled blood. Reporters began connecting dots. Sealed files in London, discrepancies in California, shifting hospital names. The pattern pointed to one truth no one dared say aloud. The official story of Archie's birth didn't add up. Meanwhile, Meghan projected serenity in public, yoga mats, garden interviews, curated photos of motherhood. But those who worked with her described tension in the air, a constant sense that one wrong document could collapse the narrative she'd fought to control. Sources close to Prince Harry claimed he wanted to release the paperwork, prove authenticity, end the whispers once and for all. But he was advised against it. "It's not worth the storm," a senior aide allegedly told him. Silence protects more than truth ever could. For years, royal history thrived on ceremony, proof, lineage, continuity. But this new chapter unfolded like a digital mirage. Every image of Archie came from the Sussexes themselves. Every detail passed through their team. No journalist, no official ever saw the originals. Even seasoned palace correspondents began to wonder if they'd been documenting a myth built from curated pixels. And just when the rumors threatened to fade, another spark ignited. Independent researchers attempting to cross-reference California's birth registry found no record under Archie Harrison Mountbatten Windsor. Not missing, non-existent. "No such entry," the state's automated system replied. Some called it a clerical quirk. Others called it impossible. In the US, even private births leave digital traces, unless, of course, the information is filed under a completely different name. Suddenly, the royal mystery straddled two continents, London's secrecy and California's silence. A dual void surrounding a single child. To some, it felt like coincidence. To others, design. Those within Montecito described Meghan's mood shifting from defensive to determined. If institutions kept demanding originals, she'd eliminate the need altogether. Reports surfaced that she planned to homeschool Archie, citing safety and privacy. Admirers praised the decision as maternal devotion. Critics called it strategic isolation. With no school officials, there would be no questions, no forms, no verifications, no paper trail. By the time the school year began, Archie's file sat empty, a placeholder waiting for documents that would never come. What should have been routine bureaucracy had exposed the outline of a secret too complex to explain and too dangerous to confirm. And as the gates of Montecito closed each evening, insiders swore they could feel the tension tighten, like a truth held underwater, struggling not to rise. Weeks turned into months, and yet no one outside the family had seen those elusive papers. What began as a minor clerical hiccup now pulsed like a cold secret at the heart of Montecito. The chatter around Meghan Markle grew louder. Reporters, bloggers, even former palace aides trading theories over encrypted calls. Every conversation circled the same question. What exactly was being protected? A retired royal clerk finally broke his silence off record. He claimed the certificate he glimpsed years ago looked amended, that lines had been drawn and replaced before sealing. If true, someone had rewritten official history. But the clerk vanished from interviews soon after, his statement withdrawn. His lawyer citing personal safety. That disappearance only deepened the fascination. Prince Harry, once the most outspoken royal, grew cautious. Those close to him said he was torn, loyalty versus conscience. He wanted to defend his wife, to end the whispers, but each time he tried, the advisor stepped in. "Let it rest," one urged. Every answer invites 10 new questions. Behind the smiles at charity galas, a silent war brewed between husband and institution. Then, an investigative journalist uncovered a trail the palace hoped would stay buried. Hidden within financial disclosures for the King Charles Foundation lay quiet payments to the same fertility clinic once linked to the family. The sums were modest, disguised as medical research grants. Yet the dates aligned with Meghan's pregnancy. The revelation was never printed. Legal teams intercepted the story before dawn, but copies of the research surfaced online. For the first time, the whispers had receipts. If that clinic's involvement were ever confirmed, it wouldn't just bruise reputations. It could shake the monarchy's bloodline narrative. Royal succession depends on verified lineage. A surrogacy, an undisclosed donor, or even a legal technicality could rewrite centuries of order. And that's why, insiders say, the silence became absolute. In Los Angeles, Meghan doubled down. She kept Archie close, turned interviews into parables about motherhood and choosing peace. But peace isn't quiet. It's control. Homeschooling became reality. No administrators, no paper requests, no curious staff comparing signatures. Everything filtered through her circle. Friends described her new routine as guarded serenity. Others called it isolation dressed in linen. Meanwhile, Prince Harry retreated into work, charity tours, documentary projects, public smiles hiding private strain. Behind the scenes, he sought legal advice about unsealing the certificate. The answer was clear: impossible without mutual consent from both parents and, due to classification clauses, palace approval. In other words, never. Rumors spread that King Charles himself tried to mediate. A father speaking to a son, not a sovereign to a duke. But every conversation ended the same way: calm words, no resolution, heavier silence. The monarchy has weathered divorces, scandals, even abdications, but never a mystery that questions its very blood. As months passed, another curiosity emerged. Attempts to verify the younger child's documents, Lilibet's, returned the same dead end. 2 nations, 2 missing records. Officials quietly admitted off-camera that such dual invisibility was statistically impossible. You could hide one file, maybe 2, but not both, across jurisdictions, without deliberate intervention. That realization reframed everything. What if the secrecy wasn't about one child, but a system designed to conceal an origin? A safeguard for everyone involved: mother, father, crown. Inside Montecito, a close friend claimed Meghan kept a small wooden box in her study drawer, locked with an old key. No one knew what was inside: medical files, perhaps, or something far more symbolic. That box, the friend said, is her leverage. Her insurance. When pressed, she smiled. It's the reason the palace stays quiet. By late autumn, mainstream media lost interest. The public moved on to new scandals. But those who paid attention noticed the pattern. Every appearance, every photo, every statement from Meghan arrived on her terms. Control had replaced chaos. She had learned the oldest royal lesson: silence, when wielded well, is power. And yet, the questions never died. What was in the sealed records? Why had the birth location changed? Why had Harry signed alone? Each mystery linked to another, until the truth looked less like a story and more like a locked maze, if whispers of that fertility clinic are real. And if royal involvement went beyond charity paperwork, it would mean the line of inheritance itself rests on unspoken compromise. A truth too explosive for headlines, too dangerous for official confirmation, so the silence continues. Every sealed envelope, every redacted file, every polite no comment is another brick in a wall that will outlive gossip. The world may never see those documents. Perhaps that's the point, because some secrets aren't buried to deceive. They're buried to preserve the illusion that the system still works. And as long as Meghan Markle and Prince Harry stand united behind that illusion, the legend of the perfect royal birth remains intact, fragile, untouchable, and forever out of reach. When people speak of the mystery now, they do it softly, as if afraid to wake it. But secrets, like buried seeds, don't stay quiet forever. One day, a single paper, a photograph, a careless leak might surface. And when it does, the world will finally learn what that empty file at a California school was hiding all along.